All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about one of the body's most obvious and sometimes pretty startling warning signs. We're going to unpack the story of a single molecule that, believe it or not, can tell us a whole lot about what's going on inside our bodies.
You've probably seen this before, right? Especially with newborns. It's called jaundice. But what's actually going on in the body to make someone's skin and eyes turn yellow? Well, it's not random. It's a very specific signal that a really important system is a little out of whack. To get it, you have to think of your body as this amazing, super efficient factory. It's constantly working, breaking down old parts, and recycling whatever it can. Now, when that factory line is humming along smoothly, everything's perfect. But if there's a jam somewhere, well, that's when the waste products start to pile up and you start to see the signs on the outside.
So, let's meet the main character in our story today, bilirubin. It's this yellowy-orange stuff that gets made when your body is doing its daily housekeeping, specifically breaking down old red blood cells. Making it is totally normal. The trick is getting rid of it.
Okay, so let's actually follow this little molecule on its normal trip through the body. Because if you can understand this journey, you'll immediately see what's going on when things go wrong. So here's the 7-step process. First, old red blood cells break down. That creates this raw form of bilirubin called unconjugated bilirubin. Now, this form is a problem because it's not water-soluble, so the body can't easily get rid of it. So off it goes to the liver. The liver is our processing plant. It grabs the bilirubin and conjugates it, basically attaching another molecule to make it water-soluble. Perfect. Now it can be kicked out with bile into our gut, where bacteria work on it a little more, and then voila, it's finally out of the body. It's like a perfectly designed assembly line for waste.
Right, so that's how it's supposed to work. But what happens if any one of those 7 steps gets jammed up? Well, that waste product, bilirubin, has nowhere to go. It just starts backing up in the bloodstream, and that is when we start to see the trouble.
And that brings us to the first most obvious problem. It's just a buildup of our main character, bilirubin.
There's a fancy medical name for this, hyperbilirubinemia. It literally just means too much bilirubin in the blood. And remember that yellow-orange pigment we were talking about? When you get too much of it floating around, it starts to deposit in your skin and in the whites of your eyes, and that's what gives you that classic yellow look of jaundice. Now here's a really crucial part. Not all buildups are the same. A doctor can learn a ton just by knowing which type of bilirubin is high. If it's the unconjugated, the raw stuff, it means the problem is happening before the liver even gets a chance to do its job. Maybe too many red blood cells are breaking down all at once, or maybe the liver itself just can't keep up. But if it's a conjugated, processed kind that's high, that tells us the liver did its work just fine, but the bilirubin is getting blocked on its way out.
And that idea of a blockage leads us straight to our second big problem, a full-blown traffic jam in the whole system.
This is a condition called cholestasis, and it's basically a slowdown or a total stoppage of bile flowing out of the liver. Now remember, bilirubin needs to hitch a ride on that bile to get out. So, if there's a bile traffic jam, there's a bilirubin traffic jam. But it's actually bigger than that. It means all the other waste products that are supposed to leave with the bile are getting backed up too.
And just like with bilirubin itself, we can figure out where this traffic jam is happening. If it's intrahepatic, it means the problem is inside the liver itself. Think something like hepatitis. But if it's posthepatic, that means the blockage is outside the liver, like a gallstone plugging up a duct. A lot of the symptoms look the same, but look at that key clue for a posthepatic blockage: dark urine and pale stools. That's our body giving us a huge, specific hint about what's wrong.
So let's put all these clues together. What are these different warning signs really telling us? The body is practically spelling out the problem for us.
So jaundice is the easy one, too much bilirubin. But that really intense itching some people get, that's not from the bilirubin. It's from all the other stuff in the bile that's backing up and getting into the skin. And those last two are the real diagnostic superstars. Dark urine, that happens when the body can't get the processed bilirubin out through the gut, so it desperately reroutes it to the kidneys to filter out. And pale stools, that's the smoking gun for a blockage. It means the bilirubin isn't even making it to the gut to give the stool its normal color. Every single symptom tells a different part of the story.
So why are we spending all this time on one single biological pathway? Why does this all matter so much? Because it turns out that by understanding this one simple process, we can diagnose a massive range of different health conditions.
It really all comes down to this. This isn't just some abstract biology lesson, it's a real-life diagnostic roadmap.
By just looking at which type of bilirubin is high and paying attention to those other clues like urine and stool color, a doctor can figure out if the root problem is with the blood cells, inside the liver itself, or a physical blockage somewhere after the liver. It's an absolutely amazing piece of internal detective work.
And that really just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? Our bodies have these incredible systems of checks and balances, and when something goes wrong, the signals it sends are usually loud and clear. We just have to know how to read them.
It's just amazing to think about. The journey of this one molecule, from a simple piece of cellular trash to this powerful clue about our health, is just a perfect example of how incredibly intricate and connected our bodies are. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.